Hello, and welcome to the Nevada State Contractors Board Online Business Assistance Program. This video is designed to walk you through some of the key requirements when completing your application to become a licensed Nevada contractor. To further assist you, we have developed a Business Assistance Program reference sheet, which you can find on the same webpage as this video. This reference sheet will provide many of the details that I will be reviewing with you today. To get started, let me share a little bit of information about the Contractors Board, including who we are and what we do. Our board was established in 1941 by the Nevada State Legislature, and it's our mission to promote confidence and integrity within the construction industry while protecting the health, safety, and welfare of the public. We achieve this mission through the operations of our board, which consists of three main departments. Our licensing department is responsible for receiving and processing all applications for licensure. This includes applications for a new license, changes to existing licenses, as well as assisting contractors with any other licensing needs they may have. Our investigations department is responsible for receiving and investigating all complaints against licensed and unlicensed contractors. Complaints filed against licensed contractors are investigated by the board, and when issues are validated, the Contractors Board orders the contractor to remedy the situation. Failure to do so may result in a disciplinary action against a contractor's license and could afford homeowners access to the board's Residential Recovery Fund. Complaints against unlicensed contractors are also investigated, and once the evidence is compiled, the Contractors Board may issue an administrative citation or may turn those cases over to the local district attorney's office for criminal prosecution. In addition to workmanship concerns and unlicensed contracting allegations, the board also investigates money owing complaints, violations of industry regulations, and allegations of construction fraud. All of the remaining functions of the board are overseen by the administrative department, which includes operations such as accounting, human resources, public information, and our Commission on Construction Education. As we begin to discuss the requirements for completing your license application, it is important to note that the Contractors Board is not affiliated with and does not endorse or recommend any contractor licensing schools or services. We understand you may have questions or concerns as you work your way through this application process, and our board is a free resource available to assist you along the way. So please, don't hesitate to contact us at any time for help. All right, let's get started on the new license application. The first step you'll need to complete is obtaining your Nevada Business ID from the Secretary of State's office, which is more commonly referred to as your Nevada Business License. Once your Nevada Business ID is issued to you, you will be required to provide this number on the first section of the contractor's license application. This information is valuable to the board because it helps us verify that the owners and principals listed on the license application align with the names you provided to the Secretary of State's office. Additionally, we will include your Nevada Business ID on our website's license search feature, which allows consumers to verify information relative to your license once it's issued. Next is determining your license classification, which describes the specific scope of work you are authorized to perform. To start, review Nevada Administrative Code sections 624.140 through 624.585. Here, you will find every license classification that is available, along with a detailed description of the scope of work that can be performed with that license. For this section, think about the types of projects you intend to bid and the work you will be performing. Use this information to identify and select the license classification that is right for your business. As you begin reviewing the different classifications available, you'll need to determine if your work requires a primary license classification or a subclassification. For example, if you are interested in providing all services related to plumbing and heating, then you may find that the C1 plumbing license is the best option. This primary classification allows you to perform all the work encompassed in subclassifications C1A through C1K. But let's say you wish to only perform work on water heaters. Then the C1H is probably a better fit for your business model. With the C1H, you are limited to only performing work listed under this subclassification, and you cannot perform any other services that may be listed under the C1 primary license. This guiding point is true for each of our primary and subclassification listings. The last point to consider when identifying your license classification is that depending on the scope of work you're performing, you may require more than one license classification. If the work you intend to perform crosses over into more than one primary license classification, you will need to submit a separate application for each primary license. You are able to list multiple subclassifications on a single license application as long as they fall under the same primary classification. Let's go back to our plumbing example. If you would be able to list the C1F, which is the heating, cooling, and circulating air classification, along with the C1H water heater classification, because both fall under the C1 plumbing license. You would not, however, be able to list a C2A electrical wiring classification on the same application because it falls under a different primary classification. Once your application is submitted, your licensing analyst will review the selections and notify you of any changes that may be needed. Our next topic pertains to the qualified individuals on the license. All contractors' licenses have both a management and trade qualifier. These roles can be held by one person or separate people. The qualified individuals and principals are publicly listed on the license and are the ones held accountable if issues with the licensed entity arise in the future. A management qualifier is someone who can take and pass the Nevada Construction Management Survey exam. This exam is commonly referred to as the CMS exam and will test an applicant's knowledge of business practices and various laws that apply to construction entities operating in Nevada. The trade qualifier is required to meet certain work experience requirements and will be the person responsible for taking and passing relevant trade exams required by the board. The person or individuals identified as qualifiers on the license will need to be included on the section asking for principals and qualified employees. The principals on the license are the other individuals that were included with your business license filed with the Secretary of State's office. The license application provides guidance on determining the principals based on the business entity type you have. As noted during the last slide, trade qualifiers must have a minimum of 4 years of work experience in the trade being applied for. This experience must also be relevant within the last 15 years. To demonstrate this experience, the board will accept the following types of documents. The first is submission of 4 certification of work experience forms, which need to be filled out by former employers of the trade qualifier. If you are a self-employed contractor, you can have past customers complete these forms as long as they are not a relative. Only relatives who have served as your employer may complete them for you. In addition to the certification of work experience forms, each trade qualifier will need to complete the resume of experience form in the application. There are a couple important things to note for this section. First, ensure those completing the forms include specific details about the relevant scope of work performed. This work should align with the license classification you are applying for. Second, the board will review all work experience forms and calculate the total time worked in the trade, which must come to a minimum of 4 years. To be clear, not every work experience form is required to cover a 4-year period. It is the combined total of all of your work experience forms that must meet this minimum standard. Lastly, attempts to falsify or misrepresent your work experience is a violation of law and could result in denial of your application. Additionally, forms that are incomplete or do not specify the actual work performed will not be accepted. The second type of documentation is a current master's certification issued by a governmental agency in a discipline substantially similar to the requested classification. You can also submit proof of transferable military experience and training. Our Military Assistance Program is designed to review this information and apply relevant experience towards the requirements of your license request. Lastly, the board will also consider up to 3 years of training experience from a program offered at an accredited college, university, or equivalent program accepted by the board. The only times a trade qualifier will not be required to provide this information are if they have served as a qualified employee in the same classification on a Nevada contractor's license within the last 5 years, or maybe they've requested to have their trade experience endorsed based on licensure in another state. Which brings me to my next topic. Licensure by endorsement allows the Contractors Board to consider an applicant's trade experience or trade exam scores in states determined by Nevada to have substantially similar requirements. If you have been actively licensed in another state for the past 4 years and have not had any disciplinary actions, suspensions, revocations, or other sanctions against your license, you'll want to review the state equivalency chart on our website to see if your state qualifies for endorsement of trade experience and/or trade exam requirements. If you believe you qualify, you'll need to complete the licensure by endorsement section and submit the request for verification of license form with your application. These documents will be reviewed by your licensing analyst to determine your eligibility for endorsement. In addition to some of the information we've already covered about exams, it is important to know that you will not be required to fulfill this requirement until after your application has been submitted and staff have verified the qualifier's experience. At that time, the qualified individuals will receive an examination eligibility form that includes a candidate ID number. This information will be used to schedule taking the exam with PSI, who is the agency responsible for administering all Nevada contractor licensing exams. In addition to registering for the exam, PSI will inform you of the costs for testing and direct you to any study materials that may be available to help you prepare for the exam. Qualified individuals will have up to 3 times to pass each of the required exams. The CMS exam is an open book test, whereas trade exams typically are not. Details pertaining to an exam reference materials can be found on the candidate bulletin of PSI's website. The Contractors Board has worked with PSI to allow applicants to take their exams at any testing facilities nationwide, which is great news for out-of-state applicants. If you are applying for a B or B2 license classification, passage of the NASCLA General Building Exam may qualify as meeting your trade exam requirement. So please be sure to share that documentation at the time you submit your application. One of the sections on your application will ask you to identify a monetary limit for the license. A monetary limit is the maximum contract value a licensed contractor may undertake on 1 or more construction contracts on a single construction site or subdivision site for a single client. Once your license is issued, it is important that the projects you bid do not exceed this monetary limit, or else you could face disciplinary action. Please also remember that you will have the opportunity to increase your monetary limit at any time once your license is issued. You can request a one-time limit increase for a single project, or you can request a permanent limit increase if your business is expanding. With your monetary limit decided, you can now identify the proper financial statement that needs to be completed, which is detailed on the application. The Contractors Board is charged with verifying the financial responsibility of all licensing applicants. You will notice that the requirements for a financial statement are different based on the monetary limit you are seeking. When completing financial statement forms, please be sure to read the specific instructions noted on the application. This is the section that is often completed incorrectly and can cause significant delays in the processing of your application. When submitting your documents, remember to include both the financial statements and the bank verification forms. If compiling a personal financial statement, it is recommended to include a supplemental schedule disclosing your working capital. Be sure to contact the board if you have any concerns regarding these requirements before submitting your application. We will be happy to answer your questions you may have. I wanted to take a moment and remind you that there is a $300 cost to submit your license application to the board, which is non-refundable. You may also incur costs associated with providing fingerprints for our criminal background check process, obtaining and maintaining your contractor's license, assessments to the Residential Recovery Fund, workers' compensation insurance, and bonding requirements, to name a few. Speaking of bonds, bonding requirements are determined based on the monetary limit of your license, and you have 2 options available to choose from. Surety bonds are maintained by a third party, or you can obtain a cash bond, which is maintained by the Contractors Board. While this is an important requirement, you will not be required to obtain a bond until your contractor's license is ready to be issued, so please wait for direction from your analyst. If you are applying to be a residential pool or spa contractor, it is important that you are familiar with the specific requirements regarding this license classification to ensure that you are prepared to fully comply with what will be expected of you in this capacity. Residential pool and spa contractors must adhere to additional requirements in an effort to provide greater protections for consumers throughout the course of their project. All of these requirements are clearly outlined beginning in NRS 624.900 as well as NAC 624.695. Your reference sheet will direct you to the applicable statutes. As an example, the board may require you to hold an additional consumer protection bond, which your license analyst will notify you upon your submission of your application. So please take the time to review this information and ask any questions you may have about these expected responsibilities before submitting your application. As we start to wrap up our presentation, please take note of these helpful resources. One we haven't mentioned is the Nevada Business Development Center, which will offer guidance and assistance to new or small business owners who may have questions about the business or contractor licensing application process and requirements. Remember, your first point of contact is going to be with the Nevada Secretary of State's office to register your business with the state and obtain your Nevada Business ID. The PSI Exam Center is your point of contact for all testing needs, and the Nevada Division of Industrial Relations will be able to offer you guidance on workers' compensation insurance requirements. Lastly, I wanted to leave you with some important reminders. The first and most important is to please be truthful when completing the application. Misrepresentation of a material fact can be grounds for denial or could cause delays in the processing of your application. Before submitting your application, be sure to review every section for accuracy and completeness. If you have elected to have somebody assist you with completing your application, please note that you are responsible for all information submitted to the board. Therefore, it is your obligation to review and sign all requested areas of the application. Please understand that your application will be processed in the order it was received. Ensuring your application is complete and accurate will help streamline this process. Once your application is submitted, you can expect to be contacted by your assigned licensing analyst. Please do yourself a favor and respond to any requests for information or clarification as quickly as possible. Our goal is to help you receive your license. However, failure to respond timely often results in delays with the processing of your application. And I've said it a few times already, but verifying your application is correct, that all references, bank verifications, or forms filled out by other states are complete and signed, and that the information is accurate will best ensure your application is processed efficiently. My last reminder for you is probably one of the most important. You are not authorized to bid projects or perform work that requires a Nevada contractor's license during the application process. Doing so is unlawful, and it could jeopardize your ability to have your contractor's license application approved. You are considered an unlicensed contractor until Nevada contractor's license has been officially issued to you. So please, join us in protecting the health and safety of the public and wait until your license is issued to perform work legally. That concludes our presentation. I know a lot of information was shared today, so please do not hesitate to reach out to our office or view more resources on our website if you have additional questions. On behalf of the Contractors Board, thank you so much for your interest in becoming a licensed Nevada contractor. We hope you found this information valuable, and we look forward to working with you through this process.